Hello, friends. I'm John Singley. Welcome to Studio 850. We're taking a look back at some news that flew under the radar a little bit this past week in Escambia County. The Planning Board met, I think it was on Tuesday, November the 7th, to consider an upzoning request from a property owner out on 9 Mile Road. The family who owns it, it's only like 1.1 acres plus or minus. And there were couple of things that happened at this meeting that I thought would be interesting. I want to share with you. I've invited Kevin Adams, the school board member from up there in that District 1. Kevin, thanks for joining up with us.
Thank you, John.
Kevin, you sit on the planning board as an ex officio non-voting member. And I think this is sort of a separation of powers thing, but during the meeting, you spoke against this upzoning for reasons pertaining to the school right across the street, Beulah Middle School. Tell the audience what that was all about and what was concerning you.
Well, it's one of the big problems there in front of Beulah Middle School. We don't have a crosswalk to go across State Road, and so by the planning code language, they use the 1,000-foot limitation around the school. They use it as a path a student can walk. So in this situation, they would leave Beulah Middle School, walk all the way to Beulah Road, cross the intersection there, and walk all the way back to that.
That's because Beulah Road has a signal there, right?
Has a signal there in a crosswalk. So it pretty much puts that land directly in front of the school out of that 1,000-foot buffer. And for a marijuana medical clinic, it's 500 foot. So I had some concerns with that zoning request to make sure it wasn't something that was going to cause a problem in front of that school. So a vape shop or something like that. So that's why I spoke up to let that owner, or who would be the owner of the property, know that if those items were pushed to go into that spot, there'd be a problem. I would get very.
The address is 6,000 9 Mile Road. I'll describe it a little bit. It sits right across from Beulah Middle School, as we've mentioned, and it also sits on the access road to the Keystone subdivision, a gated community right there across from the Beulah Middle School. And the property, the parcel in question, is currently zoned low density residential. It's 4 dwelling units per acre. It's according to the comp plan and the zoning. It's designed to maintain a rural lifestyle, not too many houses on the zoning. But just to the west is a commercially zoned plot, and just to the east over there on that side of 9 Mile Road, not too far, Beulah Road over there, is another commercial property. And the property applicant here for 6,000 9 Mile Road, the one that was the subject of the planning board meeting, he was applying to change the zoning from low density residence to commercial. And the staff at the County Development Review Committee recommended against it. They said that the commercial zoning would allow 100 and some feet tall buildings. You could have all sorts of businesses locate there, and the staff thought this was out of character with that immediate neighborhood, particularly with the big school right across the street. You spoke up about the applicant's statements to the planning board that all he wanted to do was this. He just had one thing in mind, and that if he got the upzoning, he would not go beyond much of that. And you question that.
Well, that's because he was promising. He kept saying, if I'm the owner. So I just want to make sure, if it was granted, commercial, which that's what he wanted, that he wouldn't buy the property, sell it off at a higher amount, and then the next guy coming in would say, hey, nobody told me there was a problem putting XYZ in that spot. So that's what I was trying to do. That's why they have a school board member on that committee, is where we can express any concerns or any development around Escambia County. We're non-voting, but at least we can tell people what our concerns is. And the committee, listened to some of my concerns, and so they didn't give that upzoning, but they did give them that next LDMU zoning, which they said there's more control over what goes in, even though it does state some of the same possibilities. I was told they would actually have to say what what they're going to put on that property. So I just wanted to make it clear that we need to have something that's appropriate across from that school, whether it's at Beulah Middle or any other school in the school district. So when we get within that 1,000-foot boundary as a crow flies, then that's where we get a little bit of concern.
Kevin Adams, the school board member from District 1 up there in the area we're talking about over there on West 9 Mile Road, has been talking with us about what he said to the planning board on this upzoning case. And Kevin is the school board rep, Kevin, right? You're not a voting member.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a voting member of that committee. So the only thing I can do is advocate for a position, or at least let the planning department, the committee, and whoever is going to be purchasing that property, what our concerns would be. So underneath that commercial zoning, a lot could be allowed.
Now,
And
I
so that's why we
understand
sure.
the planning board approved during the meeting the applicant, and there was some question about whether he was acting as an agent or a potential purchaser. There was a lot of ambiguity going on there, but the planning board made a motion that they would approve the LDMU, the lower density, which would allow commercial use, but certain commercial activities under that zoning would have to go in front of the Board of Adjustment. So they would have to bring specific plans in. Yes. And then the county and the Development Review Committee and the commissioners and everybody could get a much better feel for what actually was going to happen there. And so, Kevin, it was good to see you again.
Well, John, I was going to tell you, in this situation, the reason why I was getting concerned was, you're right. The gentleman that was advocating for that property commercial did not own it. He said the real estate agent was in the back of the room. So there's a lot of things there that kind of, was getting my radar put up that we could have a problem. So hopefully it was not like that, and it's going to be a dentist's office, like he said, and it wouldn't be an impact to Keystone or the church or the school.
Right. Well, Kevin, you just reminded me that we need to circle back at some point here in the future and talk a little bit more about the crosswalk. I recall now that you've been advocating for a number of years for a crosswalk, and because that is one, and it's 2 lanes. You have to go up there at Beulah Middle and see where 9 Mile turns from 4 lanes all the way to 2 lanes there in a hurry. And
well,
the subdivisions going in that specific neighborhood.
Well, the governor, vetoed the pedestrian bridge, which I thought was going to be good because it still allowed traffic to move, better. But
so the delegation put forward a local bill. For the crosswalk.
For the crosswalk. So it was approved through the House and Senate, and then it was vetoed by the governor. But what we may going to have to do is go back to Plan B, which was a traffic light at Rebel Road, to get a crosswalk there. And I hadn't talked to the new superintendent about that, but during Superintendent Malcolm Thomas, that was approved to put a traffic light at that location at Rebel Road.
Well, the time you're spending, your tenure on the planning board has been busy, because that has got to be the fastest growing part of the county. And not only are your role there is to look out for the welfare of the students, the children, and the families at the school, and the staff, teachers and support staff, but also to keep your eye on growth so that the school district and the school board is postured and positioned to accommodate this kind of growth. Kevin, thanks. That's a conversation I'm sure we can have for another day. But it was good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Joe.
And I think on behalf of all the citizens, we thank you for your advocacy for our children.
All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate being on.